Hello, my name is Angel. This is the Fatherless Millennial channel, and I'm here to show you how to do the things that our fathers didn't teach us how to do. So, today we're going to learn how to mount a TV on the wall. And for this project, you're going to need a universal bracket. You can get it on Amazon or Walmart or anywhere you want to get it. Just make sure that the bracket that you buy is rated for the size of TV that you have. Otherwise, it's going to come crumbling down and you're going to be sad. So this is the bare minimum of the tools that you're going to need to do this project. And if you don't have them, go ahead and get them. Any power tool store or whatever, you can get a drill. You're going to need a drill and a drill bit to make a hole in the wall in the stud, which is just the wood inside of the wall. You're going to need a pencil and a stud finder so that you could find the stud in the wall and mark where it is. You're going to need some kind of straight edge, something long, like you can use the side of a cardboard box, or if you have a long ruler or a yardstick, that'll work great. You're going to need a level so that your bracket, when you put it up, it's nice and straight. You don't want to be watching a TV like this. And universal bracket kits come with something to fasten the bracket into the wall, some kind of lag bolt like this. And a lot of them have this hexagon sized head, which you can put into the wall after you drill your hole with any hand tool like this, channel lock or a wrench. I have this socket set, which I'm going to use today. But if you don't have this, it's okay, because you can use one of those hand tools. It'll just take a little bit longer to screw it in. That's all. So let's get started with this project. The first thing that you have to do is find the studs in the wall. In order to securely mount the bracket on the wall, you don't want to go directly into a random spot in the drywall. You want to find a stud. That's going to be the most secure way for your TV to be out there. So you're going to get your stud finder and run it along the wall in the general area where you want your TV to be centered. That's where we're going to put our bracket. And we're looking for a stud by just pressing the button and running it slowly along the side of the wall until it lights up. So it lit up, and you're going to make a mark right there. That's the edge of a stud. So you're going to go out another 6 inches the opposite direction and come inward again, finding the other edge of the stud. And what we're going to want to do is, when we put our hardware or our lag bolts, we're going to go right in between the center of those two lines. So like right about here, because that means there's an edge here, and that whole chunk is about roughly, that's where the wood is. So next we're going to do the exact same process over about 16 inches. It's kind of a standard for the distance between studs. And this is going to be one edge of where I'm going to mount my bracket, and then the other side is going to be the other edge of where we're going to mount our bracket. So we're going to go across roughly 16 inches and do the same exact thing and mark our studs. So that's going to be an edge. Go over about 6 inches and come inward, different direction. There's another edge of a stud. So we're going to want our lag bolt to come in around right here. So this is where we're going to mount our bracket, right here and right here. Keep in mind that we're making markings for the bracket. We're going to have to make some adjustments based on where you want your TV to be height-wise. But this is going to be basically the center of the TV. So we're going to get our big long marker, our big long straight edge, put it on the wall. And if your straight edge doesn't have a level built into it, then you want to get a small level. And if you trust your eye, then, or your friend's eye, then have them stand back and be like, okay, that's level. But I like to use the level to make it nice and flush. So now it's flush. I'm going to hold it and mark a line right across. And that's where I'm going to line up my bracket. That's where I'm going to put my holes into, and that'll just guarantee that my TV is not crooked when I mount it up. So next we're going to get our universal bracket, and we're going to take the holes that are in the bracket for the lag bolts to go through, and we're going to line it up and match it up to where our studs are in the wall. And if our studs are too wide for our bracket, let's say that I can only line up with one of them, and it's too wide out there for me to get the other side, then you're going to have to do lag bolts into the stud on this side, and on the other side we're going to do anchors, and that'll just be another video for another time. So we're going to line up our bracket to that line, the level that we made, the level line that we made, and we're going to mark new marks where the holes are that we're going to drill. So line it up right where you want it, where you're going to put your leg bolts into. You're going to hold it against the wall, and you're going to get your pencil and make marks. Right there, right there, right there, and right there. The four corners of where you're going to put your leg bolts. So if you look here, my stud is here and my hole is a little off-centered. So I'm going to go as close to the center of this stud as possible. So I'm going to be putting my hole right here towards the edge of that hole and right here towards the edge of that part of the bracket. And the same thing here. My bracket's a little narrow for the stud distance, right at the edge of that hole and right at the edge of that hole, but it's going to be lined up right in the center of the studs. So the next step is I'm going to take my drill bits. I like to start with a pilot hole, a really tiny hole into where I made my mark. It's like a test. I don't want to commit to making a giant hole for the leg bolt if you're not sure that you found your stud properly, or if you're kind of like, okay, like my stud finder lit up here, but it could be here. I always start with the pilot hole. It's just a little bit of a safety measure. So get your little drill bit, something nice and tiny that's easy to cover up. You can always cover with spackle if you made a mistake. Put it into your drill. And right where you made your mark, you're going to drill your pilot hole. So this is the tester. And what you're looking for is the first layer is drywall. It's going to be soft and it's going to go in real easy. But after that, you're going to feel it nice and firm. It's going to feel... You should be able to tell that you went from soft drywall into wood. And then the last thing is that when you pull it out, you're going to see evidence of wood shavings on the drill bit. So I'm sure it's hard to see in the video, but when you're here doing it, I could tell that it's hard, so I'm going into wood. And when I pull it out, there's going to be little pieces of drywall and then wood shavings that come out. I saw wood shavings come out like that. So that means that our pilot hole was a success. We know that we have a stud here, and we're going to be able to go over it one more time with our actual drill bit size for the leg bolt. So we already have our pilot holes in the wall, and we're going to move on to the part where we use our actual drill bit size for the leg bolt. And this is a very important part, so pay attention. In your universal bracket that you bought, it's going to have instructions, and it's going to give you the size of drill bit to use. But make sure that it's telling you the drill bit size to use for a stud. Because if it's saying a drill bit size to use for an anchor, it's going to be too big, and your leg bolt's going to not have anything to bite into because the hole's too big. So make sure you're clear on that. What I do is I just get my drill bit and I eyeball it. So I put the drill bit right up against the leg bolt, and if I could see threads on either side of the drill bit when I'm staring right at it, then I know that it's going to core out just enough for this whole center part to get right in there, but my threads are still going to grab the wood on every side, okay? And just a rule of thumb, start with checking a 1/4 inch drill bit size, because that usually works for these. But if not, then, eyeball it and find some other drill bit. So you have your drill bit size, the correct one for your leg bolt, and you want to make sure that you go right into your pilot hole a little bit longer or a little bit deeper than the actual size of your leg bolt. So I'm going to go directly into where your pilot hole is. And I went in a little bit deeper than the length of my leg bolt. I'm going to do all of them, and then we're going to move on to actually mounting the bracket on here. So now we have all of our holes in the wall. They're the correct size for our leg bolts. We're going to grab our bracket. If it's this kind of bracket that swivels and extends out, then you want to extend it all the way out because you want to give yourself plenty of room to work with it. Hold it up to the holes that you made, And it should line up perfectly because you use the actual bracket to make your marks. Then you get your lag bolts and start spinning it by hand into the hole until you can't spin it anymore with your hand. And do that to all 4 corners. So you have all of your lag bolts basically hand tightened into the wall, into the slots where they're going to be seated. Then you get your tool that you're going to use to tighten it. I said before you can use a regular hand tool like a channel lock. It's going to be a little bit more difficult and take some time to slowly but surely spin it into a nice tight flush mount. But all you have to do is take all 4 of them and go all the way in until you have it seated all the way. And it's just going to take some time. Okay, so now that you have it all screwed in, every lag bolt is fastened nice and tightly into the studs as just a last precaution. If you didn't feel any of the bolts catching in the wood and it was just way too easy to go in, you definitely want to start back again and reassess that you have the stud because you definitely wanted them all mounted nice and secure into the studs. So then we're going to move forward into the part where we take the other ends and we put it into the TV. So next we're going to mount the TV bracket part onto the TV. So every universal mount is going to come with several sizes of screws. You want to get all of your screws and check which one is going to work for your TV, because everyone's going to have a different size, and that's why they give you so much hardware. So you line it up to the TV and make sure that there's a washer in between your bracket and your piece of hardware, and then you screw it down all the way by hand, and right at the end you tighten it. If you start doing it and the screw doesn't seat all the way down, then you have a screw that's too long, and what you need is one of these little spacers, and that's exactly what they're for. You'll break your TV if you go down too far and the screw doesn't seat and you force it in. I also forgot to mention, for this part of the video, you're going to need a screwdriver. This is the only part of the process that you'll need a screwdriver for. So you line up all your holes and you put in all the screws. And then you do the same exact thing for this side. So I'm going to go ahead and put both of them in, and then we'll mount the TV up on the wall. So we have our brackets on the TV, the little bars that go right onto the wall mount part. Come in real close and I'll show you. You want to lift it over this part and slide it down. These little screws just tighten up underneath the bottom part of the bracket, and it's real simple. If you have a larger TV, you're going to want a second person to put it up for you, or put it up with you, rather. But if you're alone, then you have a smaller TV, it's going to be okay. So like I said, the little hook part is going to fit right on top of here, and then the screws just tighten up on the bottom to make sure that it's safe and secure. So you're going to lift it, put it right on the little hooks, and then it holds just like that. And you get your screwdriver, go up into those little screws that I was showing you, and just tighten them up all the way until they stop, and that holds the TV in place. There you go, your TV is on the wall. The last thing that you can do is you can get your level, put it on your TV on the top, and make sure that it's straight. But if you like the way it looks and it's not straight, then fine, leave it. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, where I'm going to show you different projects that you could do around your house that your father didn't teach you how to do. And if you have any questions about this particular project, ask in the comments below. And if there's any projects around your house that you don't know how to do and you want to see me do it, then go ahead and leave that also in the comments below. Thank you so much. This is the Fatherless Millennial.